Hi 8-3 8th graders, thank you for checking out my video on how to write function rules when given tables. So when we're writing function rules, the format is the same as our slope-intercept, which is y equals mx plus b. Okay, where the m stands for slope, which is change in y over change in x. And that we have already learned. Let me know if that's confusing to you. And b is our y-intercept, which we originally started calling our beginning point. And since it's on our y-axis, it has to be where x is 0. So if we can find our m and our b, then we know what we have to multiply and add to our x, our input, to get our y, or output. So we know how to find slope, we know how to find b, so let's go ahead and fill in our equation. So I know my equation is going to be y equals something x plus something. So I like to start out with the b, because in my opinion that's the easiest. Oftentimes there's not any math that even needs to go along with that. All I have to do is come over to my table, identify where x is 0, and find y. So that means in this case, if I was playing the function game, I know I would have to add 4 to my input. Now I need to find my slope. So remember, slope is change in y over change in x. So let's find out how much my y is changing by. I'm going up 2. And let's make sure I'm doing that each time. Up 2, up 2. So my pattern is plus 2 on the y side. And on the x side, it's plus 10. So that means my slope equals 2 over 10, which if I reduce is 1/5. So that's my slope. So what this is saying is if I took my input, multiplied it by 1/5, and then added 4, I should get my output. So before I can say this problem is done, let's check that. So let's plug in 0 in for x. So 1/5 times 0 plus 4 is 4. Let's try 10. 1/5 times 10, which you could plug into your calculator, is 2, plus 4 is 6. 1/5 times 20 is 10. I'm sorry, is 2. No, is 4. Sorry, Miss K can't do math right now. 1/5 times 20 is 4, plus 4 would be 8. And then 30, 1/5 of 30 is 6, plus 4 is 10. So this equation does work for our function. Okay, so here's another example. Now we talked about this in class, but before you guys start filling in your equation, y equals mx plus b, I think you guys should take 10 to 15 seconds just to double check, see if these are formula, or see if this is an equation that could easily be found. Because sometimes all we're doing is adding -5, but then I come here and I'm not adding -5. So maybe I'm multiplying by -4. Multiplying by -4. Nope, none of those easier ones worked. So that means I need to come over here to my y equals mx plus b. So again, m is slope, which is change in y over change in x. And b is our y-intercept, which is where x is 0. So again, I like to start with my b, but I come over here to my table and I have no 0. So it means I need to count backwards until I get to 0. So here I'm counting up by 1s. So if I count back 1, I would get to 0. All right, over here, it looks to me like I'm counting up by 4s. So here I have to count back by 4. So I would be at -8. So my b in this situation, what I'm adding would be -8. So again, if we were playing the function game, you guys would know that in order to figure out my pattern that we are adding -8. Now we have to find our slope. So I need to find my change in y, which we actually just said was plus 4, and my change in x we said was plus 1. So y goes on top of x. So in this situation, I hope I am multiplying by 4 and then adding by -8. So before you guys move on from this problem, you should really check to make sure your answer is correct. Because sometimes we make silly little errors, like maybe we were counting by a different number here and we just made a tiny error. So double check yourselves. So let's plug in 1. 4 times 1 is 4 minus 8 is -4. Let's try 2. 4 times 2 is 8, minus 8 is 0, and let's try 3. 4 times 3 is 12 minus 8 is 4. So again, this one worked as well. So just a quick refresher. First thing you guys should do when you're writing a function from a table is take 15 seconds. Make sure it's not an easy pattern. No need to spend 5 minutes creating an equation when all it was +1. If it's not a simple pattern, then you guys need to find your slope and your y-intercept. Okay? Please use this video to help you finish your homework. Have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow.